it's a nice and sunny day here, and I hope you all had a chance to enjoy a nice weather today, especially since we are officially past our halfway mark of NaNoWriMo. And what a first half it has been! I will tell you all about it in a bit. But for now, I am of course very interested in hearing how your author journey has been this first half of November. My name is Ilse, and I'm a magic-wielding dragon companion and creator of worlds, and I'm here to help you on your author journey. Today we'll have a look at the first half of NaNoWriMo, what is ahead of us, and where I am at the moment. I will also give you some writing prompts to help you keep on writing during this last half of November, and of course we will do a few writing sprints. I will do only 2 writing sprints today, and why that is something I will tell you about after our first writing sprint. Before we go to our first writing sprint of today, let's take a look at the first half of NaNoWriMo. With the second week coming go, we are now officially past Hell Week, which is a great achievement for everyone who is participating. And if you are on par with your word count, you should reach 28,303 words today. That is a massive amount. I know it's not easy to keep on writing and to make those daily word count goals. So I've been wondering how it has been for you. Have you reached that goal? Have you gone beyond it even? And perhaps you've even gone way further than that. Let me know in the comments. And also, have you reached any breakthroughs? Is it a tiny breakthrough, a big breakthrough? It's all very, how shall I say this, illuminating, or it can be very illuminating. And I will tell you about a little breakthrough, a mini breakthrough that I reached earlier this week for my own world. And that is something that still needs a bit of world building because it's not entirely worked out yet, but I will tell you about that in a little bit after our first writing sprint. Now, I know of a few people who by now have far surpassed that goal of 28,333 words. I mean, that's an impressive amount of words. And I want to take this moment to really congratulate them on this amazing achievement. Dira and Melissa, congrats! May your writing keep on flowing, and you've done an amazing job. And keep us posted in the Discord, because I'm always happy to hear how well you guys are doing. It's really impressive, and I hope many of us can follow in your footsteps, because you guys keep on writing and you manage to reach that goal and really squash it. And that is something that many authors are looking for, especially during NaNoWriMo. So congrats on that. And I hope that you guys can keep on writing and that you can keep us posted on all you do. Well, I would tell you, I said, let me start over again. I will give you an update of where I am at the moment. I am seriously lacking of words. And what it is something I will tell you later on. But at the moment, I am at 8,000 words. So yeah, I'm missing kind of 20,000 words for now. But I know that I will make it anyway, or rather, I don't know that. I hope so. At least the last week of November, I will have a holiday week, so that will give me time to really focus on writing, because that is something that can actually really help. And I know it has helped me in the past, let me put it that way. And it is, how should I say that? It's always fun to write, but it's not always easy. But in this case, excuse me, I did reach the minor breakthrough, and it was about a wolf shapeshifter creature I didn't know yet anything about. And as it turns out, this wolf shapeshifting creature is a creature that has come into being as a thing, or as a, not a thank you. I wanted to say thank you, but it's not a thank you. It is an exchange from the gods, from the deities, for a life that hasn't been fulfilled. And what I mean with that, or what it is, what the meaning is in Tergaenae, I should say, a life not fulfilled is when the tapestry of life for that person was cut short due to circumstances outside of the control of that said person. That means a life hasn't been fulfilled. Well, of course, the people in Tergaenae don't actually know if their tapestry of life has been fulfilled. I mean, they don't get it. Well, they okay. They don't get the real tapestry of life from the deities, but they it is something that is often given as a birth gift when a baby is born, and there are these baby showers, you know, like we have here on Earth, and in Tergaenae they have a similar event, and that is when the parents of the newborn are given a tapestry of life, and of course there are all kinds of small scenes pictured in that tapestry of the things that the events that people wish for the newborn to happen, like getting a partner, getting kids, being successful, etc., etc. All these normal life things are all things that are woven into the tapestry. Now, the deities, on the other hand, have the real tapestry of life, and when that is cut short, the deities can decide to give that person a certain chance, and it all depends on how they see that person, on how the life was cut short, and what exactly happened. So it is a very complicated thing, and in this case, this wolf shapeshifter creature thing that I originally discovered is one of those chances. Um, I still have to figure out, I haven't discovered that yet, why exactly is this creature a wolf shapeshifter? And it is not the only creature. There are more creatures, more wolf shapeshifters in Tergaenae. So it's not just this one that Nejat and his team met. There are more wolf shapeshifters. So I need to figure out why specifically a wolf shapeshifter, and are there also other shapeshifters perhaps? I have no idea. That is something I still need to discover. I I have no idea when I will discover that, and I have no idea if Nejat and his team or others will meet any of the other shapeshifters, if there are other shapeshifters. So that is something that I'm looking forward to discovering more about, because it is something that is often imagined. I mean, we have myths about werewolves and vampires and all kinds of things. Twilight, I believe, did the wolf shapeshifting thing. It wasn't a werewolf. It was the children of the moon. They were called, I think. I'm not exactly sure. Or rather, the werewolves were called the children of the moon. The wolves were something of the tribe where what's his name belonged to. I don't remember what his name was. Those are all views an author has on shapeshifting. And shapeshifting is, of course, something that belongs to the, rather, I think that belongs to the realm of fantasy, or perhaps sci-fi. I mean, that can happen as well, I think. Although I'm not versed in sci-fi, I don't write sci-fi. I sometimes read about it, and I like watching Star Trek or well, any of the versions of Star Trek. I think I've seen all the series. There was a series called, I think, Babylon, and another series, and I can't think of the name right now, with a living pilot that's from a completely different race. Well, things like that. With John, I do remember the main character. It was John. His name was John Crichton, and that was a lizard-ish kind of antagonist. That I do remember, but I don't remember what the series name was called. So yeah, I've seen my share of sci-fi, but I don't read it. I like to see it. I like to read it, but I don't write it. My imagination is more of the high fantasy and the medievalish fantasy. So that's the other part of the spectrum. So yeah, the shape-shifting wolf or wolf shape-shifting creature, that is something I need to discover more about. So that was my mini breakthrough of in this first half of November. And I mean, I had lots of breakthroughs, and those were also, my apologies, those were also things about Nejat and other team members. So that was fun to write. I've also discovered things that I need to include in my main storyline, which is one of the goals of writing this background story, to see what I need to include in my main storyline. And the fun thing is that the parents of my main healer, of Ayla, who's the main healer in my main books, her parents are going to be in Dragon City, and Nejat will meet her parents, of course, not knowing they are her parents. He doesn't know her, so I mean that's quite simple. So yeah, and why are they there? Well, the healer or the healer mother, I should say, I'm sorry, I should say it properly. The mother of one of the other dragon companions, um, in Seamus's team. Seamus is the brother of is one of the brothers of Najat. So the mother of Michael, who is Seamus's parabatai, is a healer and is a friend of Ayla's parents. And Ayla's parents came in for visits. And well, with everything that's going on, I think it is in the best interest of the flood nymphs, of the small folk, and of Nejat that there are a few powerful healers in Dragon City when he returns to Dragon City. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and it is fun to write, and it is fun to develop it in my mind, and to discover all kinds of things that are related to my characters and that are related to my worlds. It's, how shall I say it? It is the moment that you discover new things about your world, and that you get to know your character better. It's much more than that light bulb moment over your head. It's also small celebrations and the realization that there is so much more to your story and to your world that you didn't even know yet. And it makes for a very interesting world and for a very interesting, or it can make for a very interesting story. I mean, it all depends on what you do with it. In my case, I think with the things I discovered last week and the last days, and also in the first week, these are things that I can truly use and that make my world, the world of Tergaenae, and the story and the characters a lot better, a lot better. So yeah, I'm happy I discovered it all. And that brings me to my next point. Uh, I mean, it's all nice to talk about writing, but I also want to go on with writing. So I want to take this opportunity to give you all a writing prompt. And my writing prompt of today is for this writing session, I have to say, for this writing sprint, is the following. Your character is ill, and how does she deal with that? Is she a terrible patient? Is she someone who says, you know what? Okay, I'm really very ill, but I'll just go along until I drop down or until someone just tells me to stop whatever I'm doing and tells me to go to bed. So yeah, um, what does your character do? And highly writer doodles, thank you for joining us. And you're half here but listening. Ah, that's great. That's great. It's great to hear you. It's awesome to see you join, and I hope that you have some time to write as well. And I hope everything at home is perfect, and that your little one is okay as well, and that your little one gives you a bit of time to write, because I know they can be a handful. It's always for someone who doesn't have children like myself. I can only imagine what having children around while you're having deadlines like NaNoWriMo, um, how that can influence your life at that moment and your writing, and when you find time to write, and when you find some peace and quiet times to write, or really noisy times to write. It all depends on what your best surroundings are for writing. So let's start our first writing sprint of today. Like I said, your character is ill. How does she deal with that? And uh, let me know if you use it and how it went. Little Writer Doodles, it certainly makes it interesting. Lots of late nights. Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. Well, I wish for you to have a great day today and to be able to do lots of writing and lots of listening as well. And join in on the fun, and let us know how you are doing, and if you reached any more breakthroughs in your story, and how it is going with your nano goals. Um, it's always fun to do. It's always fun to see how fellow authors are doing. I love that. I mean, one last thing before we officially start our sprint. Um, other authors are, in my opinion, not our competition. Other authors can be such an amazing sparring partners and people who can actually help us develop our world and other things. Like Little Writer Doodles, she's one of the people who helped me um, discover my name of the Inky Winged Beats I mean, the biggest newspaper in Tergaenae. And she has also given me a few ideas, and my moderator, Dida, the same. She's been my sparring partner for several years already, and I couldn't do without her. And I have some writing friends here in the Netherlands, and I can't imagine um, doing without their input as either. So other authors are a gift, or at least that is how I feel it. Other authors are a gift to an author, and instead of seeing someone as a competitor, don't do that. Just see them as the gift they are. Um, so let's start writing. Let's do our first writing sprint of today. I wish you all a happy writing and have fun. And I hope that you will reach new counts. Oh, wait, I just noticed I forgot to start to get my timer. And the timer is, of course, something that we also need. So, yeah, I just got it. I wish you all a lot of fun, happy writing, and may the words flow. And let's start our first sprint. Hi Jess, thank you for joining the chat. Guys, I hope that things that you guys don't experience too much buffering. Right now, I did get an error message about not about YouTube not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So I don't know what is going on because I just updated my my stream or my streaming software, and so I have no idea. It should be working fine. So let's just hope it will It will get better because this is starting to get annoying. I have to say that in a live stream I watched earlier this week from someone else, I experienced exactly the same problems, and others in their chat experienced a lot of lag as well. So perhaps it's also something on the side of YouTube. I don't know. Um, at this moment, I don't know what I can do about it because my streaming software says everything is alright and everything is going exactly as it should. So it's kind of weird. I just hope that the lag isn't too bad for you guys. Um, I'm going to have a quick look on what I see. Um, there seems to be a delay of about 20 seconds at the moment. So I don't know. I hope it gets better. If I notice that the delay is starting to get real high, I will have to cut down the live stream again. And then I will have to look into what on earth is going on. But at the moment, we'll just keep on writing. And that is the end of our first sprint. How did you guys do? I managed to write 527 words, which is just a little over my 500 word session target that I normally have. But at least I reached my session target, so that's a good thing. Little writer doodles and Jess, how did you do? I hope that you both managed to write a decent amount of what you had in mind. So that is great. In my case, it was interesting, shall we say. There are things happening. Well, no, I should say it differently. In this piece, I'm getting a little bit more information about Nejat, but also about what can potentially be something that's going on between Ruark, that is Nejat's teammate, and Parabatai, and the queen, the smallfolk queen. So I wonder what's going on about that, or what's going on there. I'll have to see how it will evolve. Jess, you wrote 284 words. You had to go and tell the dogs off. Oh my! Oh god! I hope that the dogs are listening well and that you can ride along in the next session. How did it go? How is everything going for your story? And Little Writer Doodles, how are you doing in between handling your little one, or is she asleep at the moment? By the way, I hope you don't mind that I mentioned her. And please tell me if you do mind, because then I won't say anything. Writing without an outline, I mentioned that earlier on in other live streams. It is a new experience for me in some way. In the past, I have written without an outline, but that wasn't quite a story like this is, and it was also a fantasy story, but it wasn't as impactful as this is to me. And hopefully others who will read this, who will read the Tergaenae Chronicles in the future, will also love it like I do. So yeah, it's a challenge, but it's also fun and interesting, and I keep discovering new things. And that's what's going on now. Jess, everything is good. You're struggling a little because there is a lot of repetitive dialogue at the moment, and you're trying to make it a little more interesting. Ah, yes, that can indeed be a challenge. What is the greatest, how shall I say this? The greatest hurdle to get by in this repetitive dialogue? What does it make it? What does it make so repetitive? And how is it perhaps that you, or is it maybe a solution, I should say, to have one character do or say something and the other character does something completely different? Or I mean, I have no idea what's going on, so I'm just throwing out ideas here. Repetitive dialogue is not always easy to solve, but it is very important to solve, especially if it is in a short piece or close to each other. My apologies. Or close to each other in the same story. Then it can become boring, and I think it's very good that you are working on that already. I do not have any real constructive ideas for you. It's an argument between two characters and a lot of overthinking about a situation. Ah, oh, yeah, that's okay. I understand. Okay, that's not something you can easily change, I can imagine. Um, what I imagine is that they go over a situation or over that situation and keep throwing things at each other um, that have been said already, but the other person simply doesn't want to hear it or doesn't give a satisfactory answer. Um, is it perhaps a possibility or an option to let one person hasn't who hasn't received a satisfactory answer um, straightforward ask for that answer or ask why he or she did not get that answer? um, I don't know if that is an option. It is the first thing that came to mind for me. um, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's like you have a lovers quarrel. I imagine something like that, a lovers quarrel, and they keep throwing things, exactly the same things at each other, because they have a quarrel about a tiny thing, and that needs to be solved. Just to be honest, that is what you have done already. Oh, perfect, perfect. Yeah, it's always it's a challenge when you have things like that. I have to be honest, I'm not yet aware that I have written repetitive dialogue, but it is very well possible that I did it. There's a lot of answer me with in your story, Jess. Oh, yeah, it's. Let me think about that. What can you use instead of answer me? Is it an option for either one of the characters to say, "Listen, I feel this about that issue, and how does my feelings make you feel?" Something like that. It's the 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 age-old question of answer me in a quarrel is it can be very hard, especially if the other person is rather closed, and isn't used to communicating the way the first person would like. Um, and those are all things that can be very hard in a quarrel. And maybe perhaps I don't know if that is an option. Perhaps an outsider can point out that um, either one or both need an answer or need acknowledgement of their feelings from the other, to get through this quarrel. Sometimes it's just a third person that might help. Just to say, it's kind of difficult. One of them is very upset and isn't really thinking properly, so not articulating themselves well, and the other one is so angry and refuses to understand the situation. Hmm. Okay, so I'm not a psychologist in any way. So I'm absolutely not claiming to be that one, or be a therapist in any way. And is it an option that either one of them says, "Okay, you know what? I'm taking distance here and I'm going somewhere else," or a third person advises them to for them to take a distance and to get a timeout of sorts, so that they both can calm down, and once they have calmed down they can talk about it again, or perhaps with a third person present they can talk about it um, once they have calmed down, or isn't that an option at the moment in the story? And Little Writer Doodles, how are you doing? I hope that you manage to write with a little one around you. Um, it's all, how shall I say that? Things are just fun to do. Little right to doodles. Your instinct for your for chess's argument, yeah, would be to fill it with angry actions and descriptions to break it up with non-repetitive things. Oh yeah. And yes, you may use the third person idea. And little writer doodles, just out of curiosity, what kind of angry actions would you do? Would you include or descriptions? When you have two characters like that in such an argument, is it? I have no ideas. I'm out of ideas for that at the moment. I might think of some other things in the future, but I'd love to hear Little Writer Doodle's ideas about the actions and descriptions to see what that how that would work. I'm very interested in that. And just I thank you for liking my idea. It's sometimes you just need an outsider of sorts to gain perspective again. Little Writer Doodles everything from stomping and putting things down too hard to slamming doors, throwing things depending on how angry they are. Aha, yes. Okay, that might do something. Yeah, I can imagine that. And Chess, you answer, it's very he said, she said right now, because it's the first draft. You'll probably put in some later on. Yeah, that is the one of the fun things in first drafts. Sometimes you just need to get the main things of the argument out in your draft, not out, but in your draft. And when you start editing and composing your second draft, then you can include all those bits and pieces about how people feel and how they would respond physically in certain ways. Little Writer Doodles, yeah, dialogue first can be a really helpful way to work out what's happening. Yeah, exactly. It's you need to in your first draft it's good to get all the events out, to get it all out in the open, and to get it in order, and from there on you can work on. You can see where things are lacking, what you need more about, but also the action you need more, and perhaps some details of the room they are in, or I don't know what if they are outside, what they can see, or how other people react, how if they are purely hypothetical, if they are in a park, for example, how would dogs respond to such a situation? How would a casual someone that's just casually walking there and just happens upon them, how would they respond? Would they just walk past them without casting a glance at them, or would they try to help, try to intervene, or perhaps give a comment? I don't know. It's those are the things that you can include in later drafts. Yeah. Little Writer Doodles, as for your question to me, you didn't write. You made several paper dubs and play wrestled with 3-year-olds. But you did think about the writing prompt and squirreled some ideas away for later. Oh, excellent. Well, it sounds like you're having fun with your 3-year-olds. And that's important as well. Um, this is something. This is one of the things that we need to keep in mind when you are when you are writing a story. And it's important um, to keep in mind that there is more than just writing. You need to have um, mentally room and that to be able to write, and that can mean that instead of writing you just go outside for a walk, or in little writer doodle's case you just play with your little one for a while. I mean, they need time and attention from you as well, and that's normal. And sometimes it can help get you through a hurdle in your book. Um, that is, I've experienced it myself. Sometimes you just need time away from your story to reach that breakthrough, to see um, what you were missing, or what your world was missing, or what your story was missing in one way or the other, for you to be able to move on. And sometimes simply doing household chores, or making dinner, or going out for a walk, or doing grocery shopping, or whatever, those are all things that can help to get you over things, especially when you are doing something like NaNoWriMo, where you are focused on reaching that 1667 words a day. I mean, that in itself is an amazing achievement, but it can also cause you to focus too much on your writing, and it can actually block you. So yeah, that and just some time with your little ones, or with other family or friends, that can really help to get you moving again. Now, I promised you I would tell you why I will only do 2 writing sprints today here on the live stream. Um, this is something I had been wondering about, if I should say something or not about it, but I think it is important because it touches on your mental health and your physical health. And one of the things I had this week was I don't know, I ate something wrong Sunday. At least I hope it was that, or I had the stomach flu, which I really sincerely hope I didn't have. Um, Either way, it made me sick for several days, and it made me extremely tired. And when I got back to work yesterday morning, my colleagues who were there helping me, they also asked me, "Why the hell are you coming to work? Because you're looking terrible." And that was both um, an honest response to what they saw with me, and to how concerned they were. Um, and that is something that will also influence my writing. I mean, I was exhausted after a few hours of work. I slept a greater part of the day, and like last night, I also slept about 9 hours or so, and that's absolutely not normal for me. Um, but I finally managed to eat something again. Not a warm dinner yet, because that was too much. But at least I managed to properly eat some bread with um, tea instead of just hot water. So yeah, it took me several days. to get to back to some kind of normality. And this is something that influenced me while writing, or with writing, I should say, because I was so tired that I simply didn't write anymore this week, or hardly any. I just jotted down some ideas that came along through the days. But sitting down and writing my story, it wasn't like I don't feel up to it. It's I was just feeling so sick that I didn't manage to sit down properly and to start writing. And this is something that we as authors should keep in mind, I think. Um, sure, we can have a writer block, or we can not be in the mood to write, but if you are physically ill, give your body the chance to recover from it and start writing again when you are feeling better. Of course, for some, it actually helps to keep on writing when they are physically ill, and of course, it also depends on um, what the um, what the physical issue is. And for me, it was um, I just ate something that was wrong, so I was sick for several days. Um, and for me, it doesn't work to force myself to write at that moment, because I will just feel too um, not only too tired, but just like, I don't know. I just felt too sick, and that is when I don't manage to write anything that is in any way coherent or logical or whatever. And that is when I decide not to write. So that is something I would like to give as advice to other authors. Look at what works for you. What works for me might not work for you. It might as well work for you. I don't know. But keep in mind that in such cases, your health comes first. And if it helps to write while you are sick, feel free to write. And I mean, I won't hold you back. Absolutely not. If that helps you to get better, please do so. But if you see that, or experience that, instead of making yourself physically also better, it you feel like the words are not flowing, and you're just sitting there to put down some words instead of really being able to pay attention to your story, then please just leave the keyboard and just crawl into bed, or whatever you do when you are sick, and just get better first. That is what is important. Your story can wait. I mean, it really can wait for those couple of days. And sure, there are cases um, where it can't wait, because of the illness you have. I do understand that. But when you just have the flu, or a stomach bug, or whatever, just those temporary things, that is what I'm talking about. Give your body the chance to heal, and then continue writing again, because that is the moment that you will be able to write a coherent story again, and to properly pay attention to your story. So that is an advice I'd like to give everyone who's an author, and who is or isn't participating in NaNoWriMo. Make health your first priority, because that is what is important. Um, so yeah, that's my advice, what I have today for you. And that is also why I will only do 2 writing sprints, because I am still very tired from last week, and I'm still not feeling 100%. well, as 100% as I can feel with still having long COVID. I mean, I'm that tired of that alone. But yeah, the 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 sickness I had this last week, that was just, it was too much for me. And that is why I need some rest. I slept before this live stream. I slept after I came home from work early this morning. Um, so yeah, that is why I will only do 2 writing sprints today, and that is why I give you this advice today, because I experienced myself how important it is to be able to write again when you are feeling better. I mean, I'm still not feeling like before this week, but at least I'm starting to feel a little bit better, and I slept a lot, and it helps. But I also already feel that I am tired. Um, so I'll probably fall asleep rather early this evening again. Um, so yeah, so that is why I'm keeping it rather short today. I hope you guys are okay with that. So yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you guys, and the advice I wanted to give you all. Um, Looking at NaNoWriMo, I think that I forgot to check what is ahead of us at the moment. We still have a little short of 2 weeks to go. To be exactly, we have 13 days left. Well, I say that, but do we? Do we have 13 days left? 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we have 13 days left. Including today, it's 14. So that's 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks left for NaNoWriMo. We have passed Hell Week. We are past that halfway mark. Whether you made the word count or not, every word you've written so far is more than you have written up until October. Yeah, or up until November, I should say. So you've already done an amazing job, and keep that in mind. And everything that you will do in the coming 2 weeks will be just as awesome. And it is, yes, it is still a challenge for me as well. I mean, right now I am at 8,530 words, so I am far away from those 28,333 words that we should reach today. But I don't care. I have discovered so many things about my story and about Tergaenae and about the characters. So many things that I needed to know, that I pretty much don't care if I make it to 50,000. With everything that I already know, I suspect I will make it to 50,000, especially because I also have that last week as a holiday, and in the past I've made it till 50,000 in the last week. I think I have 1 year where I wrote really the majority of my story, and I do mean the majority of my story, in that last week. I think I wrote about 45,000 words or something like that in the last week. So I know I can make it. But I also know that if I'm going to put everything in that last week, that's going to be a lot. So for now, I'm just happy with all the new things that I have discovered, and with how this background story is progressing. Even though this is meant as a background story, it is slowly turning into a novel. Because yes, I've written 8,500 words for Nano, but that is just a part of everything I have already written for this background story. I think I'm way past 30,000, but that is what I wrote before NaNoWriMo started. So yeah, that's almost 13. Yeah, it's let me make a quick calculation of that. Um, yes, at the moment I am, for a background story. I mean, keep that in mind. It's just a background story, and I am at 32,010 words. So the background story in itself is already turning into a novel. um, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't mind that. It's a fun thing. Um, so yeah, that is. It's. I mean, I might publish it someday, and I might not. I have no idea yet. I'll see it when I get there, when I reach that point. Um, but in the meantime, um, writing for NaNoWriMo is a challenge, and it is a fun challenge. So yeah, I'll see if I can make those 50,000 words by the end of November. I'm not going to force myself in such a way that it will compromise my physical health, because I have way too many things going on right now, with or due to, I should say, long COVID. So I just can't. It's something I cannot do. I really need to prioritize my health and my work. So if I don't make the 50,000, then I will simply don't make the 50,000. But to get a little bit closer to that 50,000, let's go and start our second and final writing sprint of today. And I have a second writing prompt for you, and I maybe you can use it, maybe you don't. Um, the writing prompt I'd like to give you for this writing sprint: your character is on a tight deadline. How does he deal with that? And it doesn't matter what kind of deadline it is. That is completely up to you. So I wish you a lot of luck and a lot of fun with your with this final writing sprint. And as know, I'll say just happy writing, and let's see where we can take our characters. Happy writing. And this is the clock, the timer of the end of our second sprint. How did you all do? I managed to write 633 words. I did not include the, well, no, I did somewhat include my own writing prompt of the tight deadline. It's not finished yet. But I did find an interesting surprise by the ancient forest. It was a good surprise for our group, for the rescuers. So that is very nice. Like I said in other live streams, magic in Tergaenae is alive. It has its own will, it has its own way of doing things. And that is not only with the magic that is now commonly used amongst mages, but that is also the case for the ancient magic. The ancient magic is you could say originally the source of all the commonly used magic at the moment. The ancient magic is what in a way gives life to all the magic in Tergaenae. And in this case, they are in the ancient forest, and the ancient forest has judged their character of each and every one of this group. And the ancient forest has let each and every one of this group go deep into the forest and reach those flutter nymphs and the small folk who haven't been found yet, but all the rest of the flutter nymphs need to be found as well. So they have just very tentatively removed one flutter nymph from its nest, and found that it was severely hurt. It will, I expect, survive, but the condition it will be once it has recovered, that will be the biggest question. I have no idea. We'll see about that. It is, how shall I say this? Yeah, the ancient forest, like I said, it has judged everyone, and it has judged this group to be a good group of rescuers. And so the ancient forest has decided to help them in a way that draws wonder from all of the members of the group. And the queen of the small folk asked them to keep that wonder of this experience forever in their hearts, and remember that each and every one of them made it happen, and that no matter what they were previously told about ancient magic and ancient forests, and what things they might be told in the future, to keep this wonder of experience and to know what they can achieve when they have the good character. So it's interesting in a way. It was surprising for me as well. I did not quite expect it. But it's at the same time it's good. It again gives more information about my world. I've got several things that are essentially foreshadowing for future chapters in this, or for future pieces in this background story, and for future chapters in the main storyline. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing where this will lead me, and how this will influence the main storyline in the future. Because my apologies. Because there are things at play that ancient magic in the end might also have a role in, and that is something I originally did not envision and did not expect. And one of the things I like about writing, and especially about fantasy writing, is that your worlds, you have characters, you have storylines, everything. You have a whole world that you've made. And I once read somewhere, I don't remember where, to treat your world as a character. And that means that your world evolves, and that your world isn't one-sided. It has so many different things that play in it, and so many different things that influence everything that is in your world. And I say it's not only your world that you need to treat as a character, or that you can treat as a character. I would say that you need to treat as a character. But if you have magic, you can treat it as something that just is. I feel, however, that when you treat magic as a character, that you can reach a much deeper world and story, because magic, in Tergaenae's case, magic chooses a person at the moment of birth. No, well, not exactly. I should say it chooses the person at some point before birth. I know in my main story, there is a twin born, and that twin already had magic in the womb. So yeah, magic chooses the person before they are born. At what point exactly? I don't know. Potentially upon creation, potentially some time after that. I don't know. That is something I still need to discover. Magic chooses the character. It doesn't necessarily choose the physical body that goes with that character. So a person might have magic, but might be, I don't know, missing a limb, or be blind, or whatever, or be the prettiest girl in town, or become the prettiest girl in town, or the hideous man in the village, the ugliest man in the village. My apologies. So, like I said, magic chooses a character. Now, we all know that personalities can change. I haven't quite figured out yet, I haven't discovered that yet, how magic deals with a person who has changed essentially so much from the beginning, when magic chose that person, chose that character, chose that personality. When it is so far different, let's say 180 degrees different, how does magic deal with it at that point? Does magic actually leave that person? Is that possible? I don't know. I haven't discovered that yet. Does magic for that person become corrupted? I have no idea. What happens when it is an elemental mage who has made such a drastic change? Will this elemental mage still have access to his or her, or rather her, elemental magic? Because elemental magic works differently from all the other magic forms. Elemental magic is something that mages have access to. They are born with the ability to control the access to elemental magic instead of the ability to control their magic. Oftentimes, elemental mages will also have another form of magic that goes along with the elemental magic, and that not but and that is the magic they are born with, their innate magic, so to speak, that sort of lives in their body. I'm not quite sure how to describe that yet. But yeah, that it can work differently for people, and magic in itself is or I regard it as a character on its whole. And that character treats every person, every personality it meets differently. Um, and so it chooses a person or it doesn't choose a person. Um, and that makes it, I think, or I feel, it makes my world more interesting because there is this other character that isn't shown a point of view, but it does act in one way or another, and it, how shall I say that? It shows itself in other ways than a person would, or a creature, or another living being would. Magic is a separate entity, so to speak. I'm not sure yet how to name it. Um, but yeah, I treat magic. I treat magic as a character, and just like my world is a character as well, and that is probably one of the reasons why I am sometimes surprised by my world and by things that I discover in my world, because there are things I might have had in mind about Tergaenae as a total picture, but also about magic and about places. Um, and then it suddenly is turned upside down, or it works very different from what I expected. So that's also what I love about having a world and a thing like magic as a character, because it can really surprise you. It is not a static thing. It is a living thing, and um, I mean, here on Earth we see that as well. Earth is not. You could say Earth is a person on itself, and uh, often it's called Mother Nature, and there's a reason for that. Um, that already personifies Earth and nature, um, and you see the world, the planet, responding to certain things, um, and doing things that we might not expect, and showing us things that were hidden before. Things like fossils that we find in the mountains, or deep in the layers of mud in a lake, or I don't know, so many things the earth surprises us with. Um, that makes, for me, Earth also a kind of, well, not a person like you and I, but in a way, it is a character, and that is also how I treat my world, how I treat Tergaenae, while I'm writing it and while I'm world building. Um, and it's fun to do. uh, and I mean, Tergaenae isn't a static world. It's not set in stone. Um, well, okay, let's keep it to that. It's not set in stone. uh, Things change in that world. It's not today. It might be Plan A. I don't know. And in a week time, things may have changed, and it might be Plan B. Um, One of the fun things in Tergaenae is that nature can do things that you simply did not see coming. In this case, it's the ancient forest that does something, um, but it's also where you see bridges made from lianas or tree roots, which is actually inspired by actual living bridges. I think Indonesia has some. Um, where are the others? I don't remember. The living bridges are made of tree roots, and they are kept in a certain state to make sure that the bridge can still be used. Um, and that is something you can see happening in Tergaenae as well, and several other things as well, um, where nature just gives you a completely different picture of what you expected, and that's fun, and that is one of the reasons I love writing fantasy. Fantasy can give you it gives you the chance to truly imagine things beyond this world and beyond any limits of expectations. You can do whatever you want with your fantasy world, and that is what I love about fantasy, and that is what I love about world building. It it's it gives you so many options to, how shall I say this, to explore new venues, to explore new ways of how things could be done. For example, communicating, or storing memories, or showing memories, um, things like that. Those are all things that are done in a certain way in Tergaenae, in ways that, I mean, Tergaenae doesn't have um, advanced techniques like we have here on Earth. Tergaenae doesn't have phones. Tergaenae doesn't have television or radio or things like that. Tergaenae works very differently. So, of course, letters are still being sent, and couriers are still very important, and the mailman is still has a very different role, and town criers and whatnot. But there are also magical tools, let me put it that way, to communicate and to do other things, and that is it let me fantasy let me explore those options, and made it possible for me to come with all kinds of ways to do things that we here on Earth are absolutely not used to. But that doesn't matter. It's fun, and it's awesome to be able to do that. So with this, we reach the end of our second writing sprint. And for me, this is also the end of the live stream, because I noticed that I'm really starting to get tired. I don't expect I will do a live stream sometime in the coming days. The next normal live stream will be next Friday, same time, same place, and I will give you one more writing prompt to help you get through the next week of NaNoWriMo. And I would love to hear what you did with it in the next live stream next Friday. So the final and bonus writing prompt is seasonal treats, and I challenge you to do whatever you want with it. Does your world have seasonal treats, and what are these? And does your character like them, or does your character hate them? Or maybe your character even likes them so much that he or she makes those seasonal treats. So I wish you a lot of